Why I rule the world. Imagine that. Okay, well, they've been listening to a lot of Nas as well. Okay, so hair in check, microphone in check. Get up for this. Kid and Play shirt in check. So yes. What up? What is up, guys and girls? I didn't forget you girls. I want to welcome you to another edition of Retrospective Reviews, being presented by your host, the boom da, the richest man on the face of this earth. Of course, it can only be RichManZ, bringing you another retrospective review. And of course, if you followed my past videos, I've been taking a look back at not just the House Party series, but the Kid and Play's filmography. And I looked back at the original House Party, which I still think is the best project Kid and Play I've ever been attached to. Yes. Richie Rich said the best project that they have ever been attached to. And then the following year after came House Party 2. It came out 1991, which I think was a decent sequel or good follow-up to the original. And the one we're going to actually be looking at is the one that wasn't in the House Party series, but was the next project that came out in 1992, produced by Warner Bros. Studios. It can only possibly be Class Act that came in 1992. Yes, so Class Act that came out in 1992. Even like I always do, I like to give like my history on the House Party, but most importantly, movies and TV series from the 90s. I am a product of the 90s. I'm very proud. I wear my 90s. I wear it well. Yeah, so I'm really proud of being born in this age. This generation as well. And I remember back in the day, Kid and Play, I didn't know, of course, who Kid and Play were. I used to confuse Kid with Will Smith a lot, but I remember just seeing like posters, I'm seeing books. There probably was a Nintendo video game that's maybe lost in time, but there was a lot of Kid and Play like merch around in the 90s, and these lot really took the world by storm, especially with the huge success of the original House Party in 1990. And as I said, I'm gonna put all of these reviews in my playlist that will be right here. You can go back and check my original reviews from there. And as I said, so with Class Act, this is one of the original House Party series. I saw the House Party 1, House Party 2. When I was a kid, me and my family, we had this as like a box set. So we had House Party 1, House Party 2. We used to, I believe we got in, it was either Blockbuster or HMV. So we got that, and I remember we would stay back on Friday nights, Saturdays, and watch House Party 1 and House Party 2. Never saw House Party 3 till I was in my teens. And thank goodness for that. But Class Act was a movie that I saw very later. There was a good time I didn't know there was another Kid and Play movie other than the House Party series. I was like, because even on the trailer, the House Party 1 DVD had it showed like a trailer of House Party 2 and House Party 3, but it didn't show Class Act. It wasn't until I grew older and I started to research into that type of New Jack Swing, that type of like generation, that era, that Kid and Play actually made this movie with another studio. The original House Party series was produced by New Line Cinema, who also made Friday and I believe Deep Cover, and this one was actually produced by Warner Brothers, the same one who made one of my favorite movies of all time, Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, same year as this, 1992. So like one of the biggest shining factors of Class Act that I really noticed more, and especially after seeing House Party 2 and then watching this, is 100% the story. I think the narrative in this works way better than in House Party 2, because in a similar setting, it revolves education. In House Party 2, kid specifically is now a college student. It didn't really show too much of the high school experience in the first house party, but it shows his day-to-day life as a college student in the house party too. Where in this one, class act specifically, it's actually dialed back their ages, so it's actually meant to be younger versions of Kid and Play who are high school students. But the story revolves in is when they actually come in to school, their profiles actually get switched. Basically how I described how Kid's character is, and I think pretty much how Christopher Kid Reid is. Kid's like he's gentle, he's a polite, he's a A-star, A+++ student. He never gets into trouble. And then you got Play, who's the player. He's from the street. He's the rough around the edges. He gets in trouble. These two principal characters, their profiles get switched when they're attending this school, and this is really why I actually prefer this than the house party too. So going to what I said, this was possibly this house party freehand class act. I never ever had the DVD set of this. Never had it. I could not find this in Blockbuster, in HMV, the Virgin Megastore that used to be around back in the day. It wasn't there, and I actually had to like really scour all the pages online, and I ended up finding torrents, which we used to use back in the day. Yes, I said it, torrents. So I remember I was able to download Class Act. This is probably like maybe 10 years ago, and I saw it for the first time. And keep in mind, like when I first saw Class Act, I had already completed Martin series. As I said many times in my reviews, I watched Martin very, very late. So I completed the Martin series, then I was able to watch Class Act, and it was so good watching it that way because, as I said many times, the impact of Kid and Play, they really influenced the Martin series of that color, the fashion, and most importantly, the music, and it's demonstrated very well in Class Act. Alright, so before I delve into the story, in a sec, let me get into the characters. So I already mentioned Kid and Play. In this movie, which is good, is that I feel there is a bit more depth into the characters they're playing, whereas if you just look at the House Party series, at least 95% of their characters in it, they're just playing themselves. They're pretty much just playing themselves. It's the same way Will Smith as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air at that time, he's just playing himself. Martin in the Martin series is pretty much himself. I think in this one, because they're actually playing actually meant to play younger than, because they're supposed to be playing like that same age as they were in the first House Party, but it just has more gravitas, it has more depth into the characters, and I really like the idea of Kid and Play switching, and Play's meant to be like the genius now because he switched into Kid's role, and Play's meant to be and Kid's meant to be with like the mean streets of it. I'm actually gonna check where this was filmed. Okay, so yeah, Christopher Kid Reid's called Duncan Pinderhughes, and Play is Michael Charles Blade Brown, and this was filmed right, so I don't think there was an actual like confirmation where this was filmed, but I'm guessing at the location, I'm guessing it possibly was California. What's interesting to know is there's actually a clip of Denzel Washington, who this was the same year as Malcolm X. He actually came onto the set to greet Kid and Play as well. If I can get that if I can get that footage again, I'll definitely put it here, maybe cut it into a short as well. But that was amazing because again, in 1992, that probably was the biggest film at that time, and it really catapulted Denzel Washington, who was already a big name, but it really made him that like leading man, important Oscar-worthy actor as well. So it's really cool seeing, like, especially from a black perspective, seeing like heroes at that time is spectacular. Right. So in the supporting characters, again, the supporting characters from class side, and again, this is why I still say, and you're gonna hear this a lot. Why I think this is a superior movie to House Party 2 is the supporting cast. I think is more stronger than House Party 2. What was cool is they also mirrored what they did in the first House Party of having a girl for kid and a girl for play. In the first House Party, you had Tisha Campbell playing Sydney, who was pretty much for kids character, similar kind of style, similar kind of attitude in the first one, and then you had Reid, who pretty much mirrored Play's kind of dark side of pretty much being a hoe in the first one. In this one, and what is so interesting, because the characters they have to switch, you have the beautiful Karen Parson, who of course known as Hillary, was filming Fresh Prince around this time. It had to be possibly season 2 coming into season 3. She plays let's get her name up. Karen Parson plays Ellen, again a very intelligent, very super, does well in school, very intelligent student who originally is supposed to be in kids class as well. So again, if you look at Christopher Kidd, Reid, and Karen Parsons, same complexion, kind of same attitude, very similar to how Kidd and Tisha Campbell were in the first one. But Kidd doesn't actually get with her. Kidd gets with the other girl, who I was like, whoa. Her name is, I keep forgetting her name, Alyssa Rogers, who plays Demeter as well. So Demeter was supposed to be for Play's character, playing Michael Blade Brown. It was supposed to be for her. So you have Alyssa Rogers, who I only think her only acting credit before this was The Boys in the Hood, John Singleton's Hood movie classic that came out a year before this as well. And I'm telling you, it really would have been nice if we saw this nice chocolate sister more times as well. It's very hard because I did a lot of research, and it's hard to find even interviews or even on set type of interviews when they speak to them, what the character's about. So it's very hard to find anything on her, but it would have been lovely to have seen more of her. And I think it's great. I've seen you got the dark, beautiful Nubian sister, just like how Shireen, AJ Johnson was in the first House Party, and then you got Karen Parson, the beautiful, fair, light skin, similar to Tisha Campbell in the first one. So it was very great how they brought that similar, almost like a homage to the first House Party. And this is why I was saying that they didn't do it in House Party 2, because in House Party 2 it pretty much there was no real there was no really strong supporting cast in the House Party 2. It's most of the time Kidd was trying to sort his relationship with Tisha Campbell. Queen Latifah is there, but she's not really tied to anyone, and Play's just about in that whole movie. So it was really good they brought that flavor that was really made House Party 1 really good into this movie. And yes, okay, of course, you also got Tommy from Martin with your no job having ass. Legendary, rest in power, the great Tom Michael Ford appeared in this as well. So it's you have a good connection to the best sitcoms at this time, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin series, where a lot of these actors who appear in this have appeared in either one of the show. Brahman, Fifth Floor. He's in here as one of the goons who works for Tommy as well, because what it is, Tommy is actually the main antagonist in this movie. Blade is someone who has this reputation of he's from the streets, no one can mess with him, and Tommy is there trying to take him out, this is my turf as there. So Tommy pretty much is the main villain of this movie, but he still has that smooth type of way as he is in Martin. And it's really great seeing it. As much as I love the Martin series, it's really great when you see these characters out of the series, seeing them in movies or also in other guest stars in other sitcoms. So it's really terrific seeing Tommy here as well. And you also got Doggy Dog, who appears in Cool Runnings in 1993. He's a excellent Supporting as well, you also got it. Loretta Devine, classic actress. You got Rick Ducommun, who unfortunately passed away around this time. And who am I missing? Of course, who can I forget? Buddy. Yeah, and last but not least, who could I could not leave him off the list is Buddy. Let's just chill out. Yeah, it's MTV in 1992. Okay, alright. So Pauly Shore, who was probably the highest guy in this movie, he was really popular in like the late 80s, early 90s. I think of just that surfboard, beach, Miami area. He was super popular, and he was put in this movie in the height of his popularity as well. And if you don't believe me, go check it. Yeah, maybe he had a movie with Brendan Fraser that did pretty well, and yeah, he was just around. And even his small appearance in this, I don't really I think it affects this movie. I think through the time and era, it's good to see these type of characters and this type of style that was at this time. So I love seeing his appearance. Yeah, so like again, most people have no Skin and Play. I've most obviously seen Class Act, but yeah, I'll run through the story a bit. As I said, like these two are both like students. Plays the bad one, Kid's the good one, and once they actually like enlist in school, once they actually get in school, their records, it's like their school record actually gets switched. So Kids ends up being Play, and Play actually ends up being Kid. And once they actually notice that these two actually switched as well, they help each other behind the scenes for Kid to help Play to pass his classes, and Play teaches Kid to be a bit more street, be a bit more like from the block, teaches him the lingo, the slang, some of the hilarious scenes when they're on top of the building, and Play's teaching him like how to say like "yeah, me," or you know what I'm saying as well. He's teaching him that lingo as well. So that was fantastic. And yeah, it all goes up to basically, it shows how like these two young brothers of the 90s who basically switch characters, and they end up actually kind of progressing. Like Kid actually learns how to be more street, he learns to look, he ends up falling for Demeter, Lisa Rogers' character, and it's similar in that same fashion. Play actually starts to be more into like the books, he studies more, and Karen Parsons' character starts to fall for Play as well. And it pretty much it shows like their pretty much everyday lives. You have funny scenes from, of course, I forgot to mention him, so yeah, you also have Lamont Johnson, who this is basically Demeter's Lisa Rogers' like boyfriend before Kid shows up. And some of the most hilarious scene is when Brahman and the other goon are basically like roughing and beating the living daylights of Lamont's character, and just that jealousy he has for Kid. Like he's stealing his girl, but he doesn't really know what the jizzo is as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just for me, one of the things I really like about, again, just this time is this just had this kind of fun type of feeling. Kid and Play really had just this lightness to them, the humor quality, and it really just it was very infectious. You could see it's just a fun movie. It has the rap, it has the New Jack Swing, it has that culture, but it's just a fun movie, and it's just a delight to watch it. So what happens, like in the finale, pretty much they actually end up in a wax museum as well. So this is when again the cliches of like the secret gets revealed, and Demeter finds out Kid's character's name, who I forgot again, let me get it out, Duncan, she finds out Duncan isn't really who he says he was, that the profiles got switched, same as Ellen, Karen Parsons. She finds out Play isn't who he actually says he is, and both Kid and Play actually tried to get their girls to get them back, and it ends up, as I said, in the museum, where again this is a Warner Brothers film. So you had the Batman wax figure, which came out 2 years before 1989, and you also got the 1989, of course, Batman Returns 1992. So you have a really cool finale in this wax museum. Again, has that cartoon type of vibe as well, like that Tom and Jerry style of them chasing, and Kid and Play actually are successfully able to defeat the enemy, defeat the main antagonist, Tommy, Michael Ford. Him and his goons get locked up, the police come, and ends up with Play being on this it's like a it's not a game show, it's like when they have to I'll get the name. Yeah, and they actually go to a knowledge bowl. Which is like an academic competition, which is very common in USA, where like there'll be a team of maybe 3 or 4, and they'll go to this competition to like compete your intelligence, where the host will ask each teams from 2 different schools questions, and whoever gets the most points ultimately win for the team. And Blade believed being on this, he could actually win Karen Parsons' Ellen back after lying about how his character was as well. And yeah, and I think the closest scene, as I remember, is Kid laying the smack down in a good way on the beautiful Alyssa Rogers Demeter as well, because the parents in this actually fall because Kid was hanging a little too much with Play. They were thinking he was a bit kumsi kumsa, but Kid and Play could never be kumsi kumsa. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you have a cool scene of end and credits roll, and you see like Kid and Play breaking the fourth wall, talking to the characters, talking to the audience, such as ourselves. Alright, so what I will definitely say is the soundtrack is probably, I can't put it on the same level as the House Party 1 soundtrack or the House Party 2. I do feel it is a step down below. There are some good songs on here. I think BNGB's song Class Act, Class Act, I think that was really cool. Kid and Play's rap music in this, they get it right. This is when they perform on the stage in front of the most of them, the young students, the youth. So it's like the rap music, the rap performance. I don't think it has the same like a kind of level as the epic rap that they had in the first one, and even in the second one when they were performing Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. I don't think it's that it's not up to that stature, not up to that stature as well, but I mean it's some groovy tunes again. You got Lord Finesse, you got Lisa Taylor, and you got Tara Kemp. I actually have the Kid and Play classic soundtrack even on my phone now. I don't believe it's on Spotify, but if anyone's interested on this, I can also put a link of where I got the soundtrack. But again, if you're a fan of Kid and Play, as like I am, you'll definitely like the soundtrack. Alright, so yeah, giving my closing thoughts, so like my final thoughts on Class Act as well. In overall, it's definitely a stronger film than House Party 2, and I compare these two the most because I believe this is where House Party 2 should have gone. Like, I can appreciate everything that was done in House Party 2. I just think from the success of the first one, everyone just wanted to see Kid and Play, no matter where it was. I mean, they had a cartoon TV series at this time, for crying out loud as well. Many like commercials on Sprite, many guest appearances on TV series, on late night shows. So they were hot, especially for that late 80s, early 90s. So it was great seeing them in another movie. But seeing Class Act many times, I get more enjoyment, and I get more fulfilled watching Class Act than House Party 2. It's definitely not better than the original one, because I think the original is a classic. Like, that stands the test of time. It really laid the groundwork as well. But I definitely would say, watching it again, Class Act is 100% the best sequel that came out of Kid and Play. So I'm gonna give Class Act, that came out in 1992, 4 stars. I highly recommend this for anyone who's a Kid and Play fan, who's a fan of Martin, who was watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV series at that time, of River, and that type of 90s jam. this is definitely a film you must watch, and it will be good to add to your collection as well. But guys, that's my thoughts on Class Act 992. What do you think of my thoughts on this movie? What do you think of Kid and Play appearing for the 3rd time in this? And yeah, and what do you think? I'm even considering possibly doing a ranking of not just House Party, but like the Kid and Plays like projects, all of the ones they've been tied to, as well as we go through these series of reviews. So but again, folks, let me know in the comment section again what you think about everything. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and just always remember that money never sleeps, and neither do I.